Welcome everyone to another session of the Seregen campaign. It's episode 77. I am, of course, the Wombat of DM, and with me are my fine companions and a +1 tonight. I'll let them introduce themselves and we'll get started.
Hello. I'm the Banewall, and I play Belzian Gilkis, who is a half-elf monk who almost certainly would water the plants that are under his care regularly. Hiya!
I'm Amadeus, and I play Roger Mays, Wood Elf Assassin. Wood Elf, what are plants? That is a complete sentence.
Hey, I'm Shade, and I play Ulrich the vampire, former human, paladin. And I don't know if he even thinks about plants.
I am Jaeger. I play Yarvik Venison Bringer, halfling ranger, and I think if Yarvik identified with anything, it would be kudzu.
I'm Atomic. I play Zippo, the Kobold Sorcerer, and the only kind of plant he has is possibly on fire. Maybe it's a dragon. Nobody knows.
And this is Razzle playing Wolfgang, the troll artificer.
All right, now give me 1 second because I see some people that are out of order here in my lineup for whatever reason. Discord has decided to, play musical chairs here. So I guess I'll ask the group here and welcome Razzle. What happened last time? Never a good sign.
I got to play with two puppies at the same time.
Okay. So we spent a good amount of time for Ulrich to have his first exsanguination, and that went pretty all right. Roger discreetly, although we didn't really explicitly say it on cam, as it were, on stream, was definitely following him, I'm pretty sure, and just kind of seeing how that went. We then went back to the guild hall. Ulrich had learned a little bit about the fact that trolls were considered okay by the guild, which was a problem for him because he had some bad history, having his younger brother killed by trolls. And then we ultimately would meet Raz's character, who is the guild leader. And he would begin to there was an exchange of stories and who we are and some opening up. And it would come out at the end that he himself is the very troll that was spotted in the lineup. Though he often bears a glimmer to look human by the sounds of it. I believe that is the highlights of everything, but please fill in anything that I may have forgotten.
Fairly close, yep. So Roger did indeed follow Ulrich. We didn't really talk about it in session because it was, well, a secret, right, to everyone. But
Including Ulrich.
including Ulrich, for sure, yeah. I did put it in the summary, so if you read through it, you'll be able to see what Roger did. And fortunately for the players, that's a little bonus content that you get. But some clarifications. The picture that Ulrich saw in the guild hall was not of Wolfgang, it was another troll. So there are multiple trolls within the guild confirmed, Wolfgang being, of course, the leader. So I believe we ended session with Wolfgang dropping his glamour and showing the party his true self. But we learned quite a bit from him. There was an exchange of stories, of backgrounds between the group, including Wolfgang's. The group got kind of a taste at what Wolfgang's upbringing was like, and he cooked the group a hearty stew that Zippo tended to make a little spicier because he wanted some dragon's breath in there. So fortunately, there was some goat cheese to kind of tend to the meal. So today we're going to be continuing that conversation with Wolfgang, and ultimately kind of seeing where it goes from here. And we'll get started. So I guess we had the group kind of reacting that Wolfgang is a troll. He kind of ended his story with realizing a little too late that him not when Lord Dara extended the olive branch to kind of rectify things, but he denied him, and now he regrets it. So I think that's where we ultimately left it off, and he kind of draws to a close his story, and kind of looks at the group to see if there is any areas of protest, any reaction at all, and we can kind of start there.
Okay.
Oh,
When,
wow. Turned into a troll.
yeah, Wolfgang, when, right, just clarify something for me. When did you reveal to my cousin? And Ulrich, I don't think had revealed the cousin element yet, but he is slipping here. That you were a troll.
That would have been the night before, or the night of our falling out.
Yeah, no, I suppose I mean more like a
How long
date.
ago, perhaps?
Yeah, like how many years ago?
Let's see. That's actually a really good question. Hang on. Let me work this out. And he stops to think for a little bit, and then he has a flash of inspiration. Picks up the cauldron with both hands, takes like a big, straight from the rim of the cauldron, a big couple mouthfuls of the rather spicy stew. Wanders over to the shelf and like pulls his own little journal down off the bookshelf, and he starts flipping through towards the end. That was about 10 years ago now.
And Wombat, I don't know that we actually set a specific timeline for the death of Ulrich's brother, but would you say? I guess why I'm asking for you, because I think the death is a flexible thing in my mind. Ulrich's like around 40, if I recall correctly. But I'm curious. I think Ulrich's trying to ascertain why his cousin would have been particularly angry about this. You know, whether it at all relates to the death of Ulrich's brother.
All right, so a few things here. First of all, I think your brother died while you were kind of young. I would
Young.
say
Yeah.
teens, maybe early 20s
Yeah.
at the latest. So definitely before the reveal to Dara about the trollish origins of Wolfgang. That being said, I think the biggest takeaway that this is something you were getting at last time. Why are Why are trolls considered evil? What is the general population's reaction to trolls? The monster manual that is part of D&D that's been published by Wizards of the Coast in my setting is the manual of monsters for the setting, right? So like somebody out there in the world kind of created this book of monsters, and that's the general understanding of what these monsters are, whether people have experienced them or not. So the stats, not that the stats are all generally acknowledged, but like the lore behind them is written from a perspective, and that general perspective is, as you've found in your experiences and your journeys throughout the campaign, not necessarily fully 100% accurate. There's definitely some bias there. Bias that most people buy into and have reasoning behind that, right? Like your brother being killed by a troll. Trolls are evil. There's this book that says that trolls are evil. This is what they are, and it continues from there. So, but that book also says the vampires are evil. That book also says dragons are evil, so on and so forth, right? So, yeah. So this is kind of the standard that you can go by. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I think also obviously like knowing that the general acceptance is trolls all are reviled by humans at the very least, or humanoids, or that's not quite right. But also, you know what I'm trying to add,
The general populace of Seregen.
character species.
You're breaking up quite a bit
yeah.
there, my friend.
Yeah.
Just as a heads up.
Sorry, how's this?
Much better.
Is this better?
Yes.
Okay. In addition to trying to, reconciling the fact that, yes, generally trolls are considered by many people vile. Ulrich is also just kind of trying to pin on. I think the player, am trying to get a sense for Dara and whether he will feel whether this is simply a betrayal by a friend or like why didn't you open up to me kind of situation. I'm very angry about it, or a kind of a lashing out because of a loss of a family member in recent memory, and Ulrich has reason to do this himself, recently becoming what would conventionally be a monster. So I guess my thought here is, how long ago was that? As like, would Dara have been? I don't remember what the difference in age between Dara and Ulrich is. How
Dara
recent?
is Dara senior, so he has a son that's closer to your age, a little bit younger
Right.
than you. His son, you would know, is about 37, so a little bit younger. Dara himself had this son late. It's his only son. Dara is about 65, somewhere around there. So
okay. And I guess Ulrich's trying to get a sense on how old Dara would have been when this happened.
About 55 then, if he's 65 now.
Okay.
10 years ago.
10 years ago. Okay, great. Cool. So Ulrich will say, right, well, I can't say that I'm exactly pleased myself, and you're a very gracious host, and I've just had some unpleasant experiences with other trolls, but you're clearly your own person, so I will. Forgive me, and he's gonna just kind of shut up for a little bit.
Anyone else gonna cut in with a reaction?
Wow, how long have you been a troll?
Whatever the in-world shocked Pikachu face is, that's the one that Yarvik is making right now.
Roger is deadpan. He's currently working with a monster that's arguably worse.
Is Zippo still curled up on the floor?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Zippo is non-pulsed.
I will say, we shouldn't judge Zippo so harshly, Roger.
Well, to answer your question, Belgium, by my count, about 65, but that's only the years that I have been able to count. There's
Fair
no
enough.
record of how old I was when I was left at the monastery. So 65, give or take some. And
Very
Aura,
interesting.
that's, I think, a very reasonable reaction, given your past history. It is known to me, as it is known to most of Trollkind. So consider yourself forgiven. I honestly expected a harsher reaction, if I'm being totally honest with you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Are you saying that my uh, most of Trollkind knows to steer clear of me?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but amongst the, I don't want to use the word civilized members of Seregen, but the more metropolitan of Seregen citizens, you're known as Trollsbane, is that correct?
Yeah, well, I guess I'm just kind of learning some things that's really contextualizing a lot of my life because I just didn't really figure y'all chatted with each other about. So why the fuck was my brother killed then? Because you're really kind of changing some things here on me in my mind, and I'm kind of oscillating between thinking you're either that you trolls were just a bunch of mindless, terrible monsters, and now I'm having a nice, polite conversation and being told that I am a boogeyman amongst your people. So I have to ask, why the fuck was my brother fucking killed?
Are you looking for the rational answer, or are you looking for the sympathetic answer?
The fucking truth is what I'm looking for.
He's going to gesture towards the cauldron. Hunger is the answer. Trolls need a lot of food to stay healthy. I suspect a lot of that is due to our ability to recover from grievous wounds that would kill damn near anyone else. If we don't eat, we go mad. And when we go mad, that's when they start to move towards your towns, your cities. Mostly looking for livestock, but every now and then a person finds a troll before the troll finds a sick sheep or a cow.
I think at
Once
the
the troll hits
mention
that
of
point, all reason is gone. There's no thought. They are no different than a hungry wolf. Just a beast looking to stay alive.
the fire in Ulrich's eyes dies down a little bit. He kind of slumps back. And just says, I think I understand that. And, yeah, that makes sense. Um, so, I'm going to put this aside for now. And, how do you, are you a magic user, Wolfgang?
That's the armor. Yeah, you could say that. Most of the magic trinkets that the guild hands out are my handiwork.
And, the glamour, you, uh, was that is that something you wear a lot? Because you show on your wall that you have trolls in your membership. So, is there a reason that you still take that glamour, and how do you do it?
As I understand it, the Oakenhearths are one of the first of the noble families of Seregen to start assisting the orcs and goblins, reintegrating back into the rest of the community. How was it for the first few orcs? What was the community's reaction? How did the people of Daranai react to seeing orcs just walking through the city?
Yeah, no, I take your meaning. I
So
get it.
I use the magic because I don't want to cause undue stress. It's very, very early days for trolls to be considered people again. And especially now with the wall coming down and the flooding. There's a lot of people that have gone through a lot of shit lately. And seeing a fully armored troll walking through their streets, I don't want to be the straw that breaks the camel's back. I've been using the magic heavily, like ever since I met Dara. When I first appeared to him in that clearing and saved him from the dive-boar, I was already wearing the glamour.
Crap.
So I'm
Okay.
trying to build positive relations. You know, just like when you guys walked in, we had a pleasant conversation, a meal together, we got to know each other a little bit before the reveal. Because if I'd led with being a troll, the reaction might have been different. And I've seen many different kinds of reactions. All guild members will eventually know that I am a troll. They're all sworn to secrecy. And we're using, and gestures back out to the front room. Huda is probably the troll that you saw on the wall. Yasha, her picture's up on the wall as well. They're sort of our poster children that were sent out to start adventuring and be openly known to the public as trolls. But you did mention my portrait. If you were to poke your head out into the front room and take a look again, you'll see that it's changed. It reflects the current glamour that I'm wearing.
Does the entire town know that you're a troll? Or, I mean, why is Dara keeping it if he knows?
I will
Well,
point out, Ulrich, we are outside of town right now.
there's a reason why we're outside of town. The guild hall wasn't originally outside the walls. It was inside the walls. And then we had our
Okay.
falling out, and now we're outside of town. But I suspect, and this is just my spitting in the wind here, Dara was the one to try and extend the olive branch. I suspect that maybe he's been trying to protect me. As much as it pains me to admit that.
Okay. Well, I've been doing a lot of talking. I would love, please, anyone else has to have some questions.
Oh, of course. I've been reading a bit, and they say that everybody wears a mask of some sorts. The mask that they wear out in public, and then the mask they wear with their friends and their family, and then finally the mask that no one sees except for themselves. In a way, you have shed a mask for us, and thank you. But you said that everybody in the guild gets to see your true nature. What made you reveal to us?
Honestly, I was just having a good time listening to your stories. The magic doesn't last forever.
Ah,
So it wasn't necessarily intentional, but I also feel like your group is something special. We do get all types coming through and signing up. most of them aren't even a fraction as accomplished as you 5 are. 6 are. Corrects himself as he looks towards Brynhild.
Accomplished. As far as your guild records are concerned, we walked across the walls.
And that in and of itself is unheard of in 1,000 years.
3,000.
Well,
I
in
mean, maybe
fairness,
by
we
elf
only did it
standards,
very
it's
recently.
a walk in the park. By everyone else's standards, that was impossible.
It was only a few months, yeah.
And yet somehow it feels like 4 years. I have no idea why that
Yeah,
would be.
3.5.
So as we're having this conversation, Wolfgang puts his journal back on the shelf, making sure that it's exactly where it was before he pulled it off, and he wanders back over to the forge, realizing that he's forgotten to put the wood chips on the coal. So instead of smoking the meat, he's just drying the meat right now. Yeah, but you took a bit of an interest in the meat earlier. What kind of wood smoke do you think would go well with the porpoise?
Mesquite? I don't know. Is mesquite a thing here?
I don't even know what that is. Wombat, help.
So there's a mesquite tree. The lowest branches or roots of the tree are what you would get the most flavor from, because the sap all collects down at the bottom, and they call that type of wood mesquite toes.
Sweet. Yes, those. I remember
Colin,
harvesting mesquite toes. I remember harvesting mesquite toes in the forests of my youth.
And
Well, there we go.
it was a
There's the-
joke, but it's absolutely lore now. Absolutely lore.
That's it. 100%. That is factually correct. That is what I'm rolling with. I will never call mesquite anything other than mesquite toes for the rest of my life.
To clarify, IRL, it is a real family of trees.
Yes,
mesquite
I know.
actually, yeah.
But the
it
pine
is actually real.
is the toe of the tree is the most flavorful of the wood.
Yes, yes.
And my next question was going to be if that wood could be found in the forest north of Flick, but Yarvik's confirmed that it's in and around his home village, which is in the forest north of Lick. So
Yeah.
It is not in
I
the forest
imagine-
north of Licht. To clarify, Yarvik comes from Rilladrin, which is more central and north. He's north of
sorry.
the Reach. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Last session I interpreted north as in north of Licht. I thought you were from the forest.
We are back. Thank you for your patience. Sorry for the delay. We should be back and live and ready to go. So apologies for all of the kerfuffle. All right, thank you, Bane. I see that you see us. So, all right, go ahead and continue, my friends. Sorry about that. The reset.
Continue from where?
So let's start from the mesquite toe. I think that's where we kind of left off.
Yeah. So confirming that he has mesquite toes in stock. You see Wolfgang walk over to the anvil, grab a leather sack off one of the workbenches, and pull some of the some logs, the mesquite toes, out of his log pile. Stuff them into the sack and put the sack on top of the anvil. He then holds his hand out, flat to his side, and the space beneath his hand, between his hand and the floor, becomes really uncomfortable to look at. You try to focus your eyes on it, and they just keep slipping over that space. And then a moment later, when your eyes are able to focus on that spot again, there's now an enormous tree stump with a single branch serving as a handle. He raises the tree stump and brings it down with a shattering crash. It sounds like metal on metal, despite the fact that one of the two looks like wood. And Wombat, if you're permitting, he would like to shatter the wood into wood chips with the Great Hammer.
Cool.
Give me a roll, please.
Of which kind?
Do an attack with the hammer.
So this is going to be. Let me just equip that one. This is probably going to show up as dagger. But this is his Great Hammer packed weapon, so it's the same attack roll.
Yep, correct.
That's a 23 to hit.
All right. Roll damage.
Okay, now I have to actually look up the damage of the Great Hammer.
Yep.
I don't think a Great Hammer exists. Great Club.
Yeah.
The
we can
two-handed
sub
blunt weapon. Is it the Maul? Yeah, we'll call it a Maul instead of a Great Hammer. 2d6.
That works for me.
That's 2d6 plus 5, so 9.
All right. A portion of the log shatters into. You kind of smash off one side, and it kind of crumbles. There's still a bit left, but there's enough there to use for charcoal.
Excellent. So yeah, he'll pull the mosquitoes that weren't shattered and toss them back onto the log pile, and then dump out the wood chips onto the coals, so he can start the smoking process properly. And while this is going on, if anyone wants to ask any questions or have any comments, you're more than welcome to cut in.
Belzian would, of course, give a "Whoa! How did you do that? Is that magic?"
Well, it's magic of a sort. It's different from the magic of the armor. It's different from the magic of the trinkets that I make for the guild. But it's certainly magic of a kind.
It seems very productive compared to many of the magics that I have seen. A lot of the magic that I've seen recently could, like, set a barn on fire, theoretically, of course.
Or a forest.
They could also put them out.
True. Theoretically.
Well, I suppose magic comes in all flavors, Belzy. Yeah, mine is certainly more of a productive nature, as you put it. Although I do still have a spell here or there, which is designed purely for self-defense.
I'm sure you've had to rely on self-defense a few times over the last 65 years.
Yeah, once or twice, you could say that.
I don't really know any magic myself. I'm more of a believe it, be it kind of person. Just say I get sick, I just focus really hard on not being sick, and then I'm not sick anymore. I don't know if that's magic.
You see Gideon start kind of like think for a second how to phrase that, and then jots it down into the book.
Sometimes you just gotta visualize yourself achieving a goal. Like, sometimes I don't want to punch 2 times. I want to punch like 4 times. And I visualize it, and then I make it happen. Makes me a bit tired, though.
Well, that sounds to me like you've got transmutation magic. that turns unpunched things into punch things.
Wow. Maybe I am magic.
Maybe you are magic of the mind. Now, you did ask where I was from earlier on, Bells, and I was a little caught up in the moment. I never asked
Yes,
where
you
you were
mentioned
from. Tell me about your monastery.
You mentioned a monastery. I also grew up in a monastery. As far as I can tell, I was left there as a wee baby. I don't know whether it was on purpose or maybe somebody lost a bet, but I try not to think about it. I just grew up there. That was my family, hanging out with my bros and sisters, and our father of the monastery. His name was Papas. I don't know if he was meant to be the father, but Father Papas helped raise everybody. We all took up martial arts and generally tried to help the people of Seregen during that nasty war there. Um, a lot of people didn't make it through the war, but I did.
Too few.
I ended up tending to the library, and I'm pretty sure I've read every single book in there, except for the one that never got returned. And I ended up running into this group while I was looking for the book, and with the help of Yarvik and everybody else, we kind of found the book. It was very mysterious. It may have led to the wall disappearing. Wouldn't you say, everybody?
No.
No?
I think we have it on good authority that a man in Relic sneezed really hard, and that's what caused the wall to come down. He told us himself.
May the 12 bless them. He was such a funny guy, too. We've met many characters.
What? Tell me more about this person?
The one who sneezed, or the one who told them about the one who sneezed?
Well,
they are one and the same.
Yes, that's what it sounded like. I'd like to know more about that. What do you know?
He's an old man in exile named Pirin, or at least that's the name he gave us.
Pirin. Do you know how that's spelled, by chance?
We spelled it with all E's. So E-E-E, E-E-E, E-E.
Yeah, it's pronounced Pirin.
I see. I see you have a little bit of humor. I wasn't expecting that from you, Roger. I'm gonna write that down. So two E's then. Okay.
At least two.
And
the E at the end is silent.
Did he have? Do you know what could have caused a sneeze to bring down the wall? I figure if it was that easy, it would have happened a long time ago.
Well, we have only ever tried from this side, haven't we?
Yeah, maybe it was just the right sneeze at the right time.
And was he aware of the other side, or was he like us and had no idea?
He at the very least was aware of Necrata to the south, as he told us well in advance that the vampires were slavers, which we later learned was true. We didn't ask him much about Seregen. I suppose we could have. But we were much more curious about the new lands we'd never been to before.
He was also a tiger.
Where?
Zippo has a wild imagination.
I'm telling you, Perrin was for sure the tiger. He just also happened to be a guy.
I second
He's a
that.
guy.
There's no way that dude wasn't a tiger.
You
Or a
He
lion.
also lived in a cave full of pee, so maybe.
You're clearly lying.
I mean, you've mentioned that our little dragon friend over here, Zippo, is full of tall tales, but we haven't actually asked Zippo for his tale yet.
If Zippo is telling a tale, I'm going to go get something to drink and sit in the corner because we will be here for a while.
We've all shared a little bit about ourselves, our little dragon friend. What would you like to share about yourself?
I'm best friends with the Dragon Rift.
Yeah, you mentioned this Dragon Rift. Was this in
Pretty awesome.
Necrata or in Relic?
Relic.
Right.
Gideon furiously writing.
Yeah, and is it
Smoke
just the
starts coming
one?
up from his paper.
Oh no, there is a whole clan of them. There's two clans actually, but I didn't get to meet the other clan because they were kind of like a murder on sight type of clan, and I didn't feel like killing them as well, so we went to the nice clan.
How benevolent of you.
Yeah.
And to help out you soon-to-be guildmates, how would one identify the friendly dragon clan from the not-so-friendly dragon clan? Is there some way to distinguish the two? We don't want to
Yeah,
send kids
the
out.
friendly dragon clan is the bronze clan. The Zippo will point at his bronze scales and then point at the symbol that's in red on his arm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did mention that Rift gave you those scales. So you weren't originally bronze?
No, I was red.
Interesting. That's a new type of magic to me for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
And what would you say would be if you could recount a couple of your favorite moments from your time across the wall? Favorite encounters, favorite
When I
battles?
released the genie, talking to the old tree that let us transport through his body, meeting Cartholomew, amazing, loved it. Didn't much like much else of the vampire people. I'm gonna be honest. There's one Baroness out there that if the treaty ever falls, I'm hunting them down first. Mainly because we went to their house and it was not fun, and they also hurt one of my friends, and I just don't like them. Uh, there's also whenever we got to fight against the other clan leaders of Relic, that was pretty fun. Um, I still got to hunt down that one demon that I made the pact with that got abolished by said genie. I got to kill them pretty good. Other than that, it's not been too much.
Wolfgang is just taken aback by like the sheer volume of heroics that have just been recounted in the shortest span of time possible.
Gideon has
And some of them are even true.
Gideon stopped writing at some point halfway through, based on not getting much context, and just kind of exchanges a weary glance at you, as if to say, "We don't know anything, do we?"
But unlike the party, we don't have the benefit of rings. Yeah, being an old friend of Gideon's, I would imagine that Wolfgang is familiar with this look and returns it with a similar. Yeah, we're up shit creek without a paddle, aren't we? We know nothing. That's twice now you've mentioned demons. They sound like so they were a problem over there as well.
Yeah, I think if I'm remembering correctly, we saw when the first one came across, and that wasn't much of a fun thing because I didn't get to touch the orb before it blew up. But other than that, we've only encountered a couple of demons, but they were all pretty bad. So if you lose to them, then it's kind of that's on you, I guess.
Yes, the demons are quite a serious problem, actually.
Would you guys care to go into any amount of detail on that subject? As an adventurers guild, I mean, we're kind of, in some ways, the people's last line of defense.
Zippo will pull out his
Tell me to
notebook.
consult
That's
my
very. Zippo will pull out his notebook that has very, very crudely drawn pictures of the demons that he's talking about, and he'll point out the one that he's definitely at least going to get a hit in, even if he has to die for it. Even though he's pretty sure he won't. because just overconfidence flows free with him. And then he's got like he'll start flipping through his notebook, and it's just a bunch of different pictures that are very crudely drawn and like without like the very crappily written in draconic descriptions. You probably wouldn't even know what they were. And it'd be each like different demons, dragons. I don't remember if I drew Cartholomew or not. I don't think I did. And the Baroness, I think I drew a very crappy picture of. And I think that's really the only people I've drawn recently. Piran's in there, I think. I'm pretty sure I remember drawing a picture of Piran, but in his tiger form.
You look at that picture, and he looks like a lion to you in that picture that you drew.
Falsehoods.
I am keeping it with It is too late to turn back now for Zippo.
Zippo has too much pride to ever call those lions.
Yeah.
So is Zippo pulling out a pen and ink and just like putting in tiger stripes on this line?
Oh,
That would be the
no, that's just
main
what
way that he
tigers
chooses.
are like.
Right.
That's just what tigers are now for Zippo. They're just lions.
He did it with his paws.
For clarification, Zippo, are you showing the picture book, Zippo's almanac, to Wolfgang, to Gideon, to both, to neither?
He's just kind of like he's showing it to you, and then I imagine at some point the dogs would move a little bit, so he'd be worried that he'd be left out, so he would just hand it to you and then run over to them.
I'm imagining like looking like Red String wildly gesturing at a board, but instead it's Zippo frantically flipping through the pages of this book, attempting to show them to you, but way too quickly to get a good look at them. That's what I'm picturing.
It's Pepe Sylvia. It's Pepe Sylvia.
So, Wombat, looking at Zippo's drawings, Wolfgang, once he's had a flip through himself, he's going to hand the book over to Gideon.
Okay.
How much do these pictures remind him of Gideon's sister's work?
Well, these range. These are on a whole nother caliber from Gideon's sister. And a lower caliber for sure, but a caliber nonetheless. He kind of gets a general sense of what the figures are. You can see that some of the drawings Zippo was more passionate about and are with darker lines. One of a four-armed, weird-looking creature with a snake-like body. Kind of resembles a naga, but has four arms. The lines are so dark that you see points where the page has been ripped slightly by how hard Zippo pressed to make the drawing. So it seems like what he lacks in talent, he makes up for in raw emotion when he's been making these drawings, and so you can interpret other things than just what the form is.
So Wolfgang's not making active insight checks. Passive is 15. Is that what the 15 reveals?
Sorry, my
About
headphones
Zippo's
dropped
character.
out. One more time.
So Wolfgang's not making any active insight checks at all
Yes.
throughout this entire exchange.
Yeah, that's all. That's all from your passive.
Okay, cool. So seeing that it's of a much, much lower caliber and getting a better idea of who Zippo is, as he hands the book over to Gideon, he's just gonna like mutter under his breath, but probably still loud enough for the highly perceptive of the party to hear. Good luck, mate. As he hands him the book to try and figure out what's up and what's down.
And I know this is 'cause I didn't think about it till after. I'm pretty sure Zippo wrote down in his book in like one of the early pages about how he broke the wall down with Jordan. I am like 89% sure he did that.
I'm pretty sure you
So
did,
if-
yeah.
If Gideon can read Draconic, he knows he's gonna know that soon.
Well, he knows that Zippo thinks it was true, but we have already established Zippo as an unreliable narrator.
That's fair. That's fair.
Even if this time you were right, Will they trust you?
That's valid.
best-
yeah.
The best part about Zippo being an unreliable narrator is that Zippo is 100% convinced of himself.
Yes.
So he passes every insight check that anyone might make against him automatically because he believes it's true to him. He never speaks a lie.
Gideon waves. He looks at the page with your writing about the wall, Zippo, and I don't know if you're clocking it because he's paused on this and he's kind of looking at it for some time. He kind of does a hand wave across it and then continues to flip the page.
Yeah, Zippo's
If he was able to read it, he makes no mention of it as he continues leaping through.
Gotcha. I just wanted to make sure I remembered to say that because I'm pretty sure I remember Zippo doing it, but Zippo's in like a hyperactive state because
I appreciate
it. Got like no thoughts are going through his brain right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you asked about adventurers fighting demons. We have a little experience with that, although maybe more experience running from them. And we have some advice passed on from people with more experience.
Yeah, anything that you're willing and able to share, if it can save lives, then please let us know.
Holy weapons, weapons that deal radiant sort of attacks, the light of the sun, that sort of thing, are powerful against them. Magical weapons are absolutely necessary. And they can cover great distances in a short period of time, either by flight or by portals or by teleportation. Something that we're still investigating and still becoming aware of just how extensively they're able to do that.
Of course, now that we have some of your generosity, we'll be able to ourselves teleport a little bit, so to speak, should we need.
You must be referring to the teleport orbs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, only half my work, but I'm glad you're going to put them to good use.
How do those work? And could they be keyed to another location?
Honestly, I just make the bowl. The magic behind them is beyond my capabilities. An old friend and ex-party member, Otto, he's the one that puts the finishing touch on them.
What's why an when you say ex-party member, because the party disbanded, is he not part of the guild?
Yeah, he was in the party with me, Knives, and Dara.
Right, but I mean, surely he's still part of the guild as well.
Oh yeah, he's still a welcome member.
Okay.
But he himself has retired from adventuring. If
No,
you're looking for him, you can find him in Harmony. He's got a little beachside manor just outside of Harmony. He spends his time now sipping drinks with little paper umbrellas in them and watching girls a fraction of his age frolic amongst the waves. But he's a good sort, and he'll recognize your guild emblem.
When we're talking about the orb, Zippo will pull out, he'll open his bag of boarding, and he'll go down and get the fragments of the one that he had from Jordan, and he'll show them to Wolfgang and be like, "Hey, these ones came from a trader, by the way. He had two. He had the return one and the teleport one."
And by traitor, Zippo means old friend that they've since had a falling out with. The rest of us are still on good terms with him, though.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but that sounds an awful lot like me and Dara.
In some ways.
Well, if it is similar, Zippo, I hope that you learn from my mistake.
I don't know what your mistake was.
Given your exploits, it's how old is he?
Zippo's 5.
I thought you were 6.
He might be 6. It's
I
whatever
thought
the
you were
age
6.
before adulthood is. Let me check.
Yeah, we
5.5.
thought you were 6. It's possible Zippo is 5
yeah,
and
he
has
is
been
6.
lying to us that he is 6.
Yeah, because kobolds reach adulthood at 7, so he's the age beforehand, so he's 6.
Brunhild
it's easy
might
to
actually
forget.
be older than Zippo.
Yeah, possibly.
Brunhilde is absolutely older than Zippo
Yeah, it's easy to forget
in dog years.
how old you are. There, Zippo. The mistake that I made was not giving Dara a second chance when he wanted to see if we could get the friendship back together again. I was stubborn, stupid. And he gestures towards the tired corgi, who's resting, curled up with Brunhild. Dogs are the best people, Zippo. She was the one that showed me that I'd made a mistake. We take her for walks through the city, and every day she'd pull towards Dara's, wanting to see her old friend. But I was stubborn. Kept saying no. And then one day she stopped pulling. Tail between her legs. She didn't even try. That's when I realized that I hadn't considered her feelings. I was only thinking about myself. And then I realized I hadn't considered Dara's feelings. So the mistake that I made was being selfish, Zippo.
You see it kind of like go through Zippo's head, but then you see like a little bit of anger in one of his eyes, and it's like he ignored it. Like he heard you, but he ignored it. Because now a traitor's a traitor. Once one, always will be one.
Now, looking to practical matters, the party has mentioned the demons that they can get around really quickly, that anyone that's fighting them absolutely needs to have magical gear to even stand a chance. The shattered teleport orb that Zippo's like holding out, does that look repairable, Wombat, in Wolfgang's eyes?
So you see the shattered ball. The ball is indeed something that you've made. It's identical to the ones that you give out to guildies, to bean sprouts. But since he had both halves, that would mean that the return orb was maintained instead of kept at the guild. Meaning that, usually you keep the balls here at the guild so people have a quick way back. You don't usually give out the other side. Mainly because they're one way, right? And you don't want them to be used for, anything
Nefarious purposes.
nefarious, yeah. So that's why it's always been kind of back to the guild.
Zippo, are you holding it out for Wolfgang to take, or are you just holding it out to show?
He's showing it, but if he thinks you can fix it, he'll let you take it.
Yeah, Wolfgang's going to gather up the pieces and sort of fit them together. And as he's doing this,
So you can't really fit them together, but continue. I'll let you. I won't stomp on it too much.
putting it back into whatever would be the most
Yeah, it's kind of like a
oval
mound.
shape.
Yeah. That he pours out into your hand.
Yeah, he's gonna like look over Zippo towards Gideon. Giddy, are we missing one?
I mean, it's entirely possible. We've been giving them out for 40 years, but I mean,
No, I mean the ones to get back. We usually keep them here.
yes.
But the way this was just described to us, the return orb is elsewhere and it's still intact.
No, well, if it's spent, that means that both sides are spent. I would say. And Zippo, to
Sorry,
confirm,
Wombat.
you had both.
Sorry,
Yeah, I
Wombat,
think I had them both
misunderstood.
together.
Yeah, so this looks like it's both. It's kind of a mound that's enough to make two of your balls. He chuckles at the slip.
Eh.
Well, if you leave this with me, little one, I'll at the very least get these back into an enchantable state. I'll have to send word to Otto though, to see if he can come back and get this re-enchanted. But they'll have your name on it once that can be organized. If you're willing to part with them for a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to do kind of a check, Wolfgang, you could kind of piece together what could be the case here, perhaps. Maybe an insight or not investigation, I would say, looking at the pieces and whatnot.
Okay, then investigation. So that's 1, but I do have advantage from being an artificer to deduce how something works. Would that?
That would help. Yep. Go ahead. Second one.
24.
Okay. All right. So just off the cuff, you can think of two solutions to how this happened. Somebody at some point requested it and neither of you recall it. That's unlikely. 2, someone stole the other half from the vault. Also unlikely. 3, Otto sold his own, sold it on his own from Harmony at some point. Likely, possible, out of your control. And since you know that Otto enchants them and then ships them back, you ship him a bunch of these items, and then he'll ship them back. It could have been also intercepted on the road. So those are the 4 likely scenarios.
And the last 2 that are the most likely would still have a paper trail. There'd still be a deficit of orb sent versus orb received.
Yes. Yeah, there'd either be Otto keeping a receipt, as you know, he takes
Yeah.
not as diligent notes as the 2 of you, but he follows the guild instructions. And yeah, if a shipment didn't make it, and that has happened, you'd know how many are missing. You could think of 5 instances where a shipment has been intercepted in the 40 years. So that's not very many.
Well, he's not going to worry about it too much then. I think Wolfgang's just going to assume that it was Otto needing like a little extra cash hit for whatever new hobby he's picked up. Let's call it hobbies. But he will carefully take the combined mass of the 2 shattered orbs.
Yeah.
And put them over on his workbench, ready to be mended.
Yeah. So basically, what you do in this instance is you'd melt down the 2 balls into raw material and then respin them
Yeah.
into wire and then wrap the balls. Fairly
Given that
simple
he's
process.
smoking meat right now, he's not going to be melting anything on the forge
For
tonight.
sure. Yeah.
So that's going to be a tomorrow task at the earliest. Yeah, they also mentioned we're going to need magic weapons, Giddy. We might want to get a yeah, we're going to need enchanting reagents for that. A lot of it, from the sounds of it.
Yeah, we might want to start recommending people take, when they join the guild, a magical weapon instead of just a magical item.
At the mention of the magic items, he's going to look around at the party. So what did you guys put your hands up for? Just out of curiosity.
I got a bag that lets me summon animals, and then I purchased a bear that I remember seeing in a Magic's Magic. I hate that place, by the way. And so I went ahead and bought that too. The bear is really awesome.
So as a player,
Gideon.
I've only
Go ahead. Sorry.
as a player, I all I know about the bear is the brief mention in Wombat's like campaign summaries. As a player, the way that I'm imagining it is that it's like an immovable rod, but it's not a rod. It's like a full-size bear that just sits there. Am I on the right page here, or was it described differently to you?
So Gideon kind of catches your eye and he says, "It's the stuffed bear that they brought that crazy adventurer brought in from Jewel. I don't know why he brought it, but he said we couldn't move it. Well, I sold it."
Oh, wait a second. Sorry, you had the bear at one point?
Well, yes. In order to sell it to Zippo here, we had to have had it.
Technically, you can sell things you
Sorry.
don't have.
Sorry. I think I missed somehow. I forgot. Oh, this has been a bit of a long day for me. It's felt like weeks, months.
Ulrich could barely believe it.
Yeah, I forgot entirely that thing came back into our lives. Or that,
Yeah, I
that
got
he.
it now.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah, I think you were actually in the session that time, but you did help Zippo get it down.
We'll take it as her sign.
Yeah, I remember now. Well, as far as the magic item, I've got your javelin of lightning.
My choice. Hopefully that will serve you well.
Wings of flying over here.
Ooh, interesting. Wouldn't have taken you for an airborne sword.
Hence the need for the wings.
I've been thinking about getting into fashion lately, so I took this magic belt of hill giant strength, and maybe one day I can beat Ulrich in an arm wrestle.
I wouldn't
And
count
you can
on
already do that if you just cheat.
That's what the belt's for.
So, recognizing the belt, Belzian, you see Wolfgang holds up like one of his hands in front of his chest, and he taps a bracer and gives you a conspiratorial wink.
Hey,
Well, that's everyone but you. Yavik. Have you not put a request in yet? Or do we not have what you're looking for?
What's up?
So that's everyone but you, it seems. Do we not have what you're looking for?
Yarvik is just he's lost in thought. He was thinking about home since we were talking about his much missed mesquite toes.
At the mention of that, you see Wolfgang thinks for a moment, and then he wanders back over to like the bedside of the workshop and starts rummaging through drawers. And these sound like these are drawers that haven't been opened for a while. Like it's the one that was stuck because the spatula was like in the wrong position. Like he really has to give it a shake to get it open. And he pulls out it looks like a tent bag, but like quite a small canvas tent bag. It's probably about 2 feet long. And in terms of diameter, probably about 6 inches, 5 or 6 inches in diameter. And he walks over to you, Yarvik. I mean, it's not much. Certainly not to the same standard or value or worth as the rest of the gifts, but maybe this will just be a little something to sort of mark the occasion, if nothing else. And he hands the package over to you. You can see that it's got like buckles to keep it closed.
Well,
And little straps to stop it from unrolling. But picking it up, it clanks like it's got metal inside.
Yarvik is very graciously accepts this gift and is saying, I thank you kindly for your hospitality. And then he'll fiddle with the buckles and open it up and see what's inside.
So fiddling with the buckles, the metal inside just falls out onto the floor. Like it wasn't really held together all that well. The canvas also sort of folds and opens out into like a large, sort of like a tent, a teepee. And I say large by like dinner plate standards. It's big in that sense. The metal on the ground looks remarkably similar to the metal that's currently above the forge. Yarvik, this looks like a miniature version of the smoking rack that's sitting in the forge, a for travel design, with the canvas intended to be placed over the top to enclose the smoke.
A travel smoker! I'm gonna go find some
and this
sauce.
is probably something I should have mentioned earlier. The porpoise meat that you guys ate, and he gestures to the porpoise meat that's in the forge at the moment as well. By and large, porpoises are poisonous. It's just like the tip of the tail that normal people can just eat, and that's what goes into the sausage. The rest of the porpoise, lead, copper, it's all the metals you don't want to be eating on the regular. Thankfully, though, I've got a little enchantment on the smoking and drying rack that can pull toxins and poisons out of food. So, mechanically speaking, it's the Purify Food and Drink spell
That is very
that
cool.
cast only on what's being smoked and dried. So, safe enough for you guys to eat. I've pulled the metal out. And this one should do roughly the same thing, but is a smaller, lighter, and intended for on the road. Like, I made it for myself years ago, but I don't really get out much anymore. You know, trips to Jane every now and then. Occasionally go out to stretch my legs, but yeah, I don't do a lot of adventuring, so it's not of much use to me.
Plus,
hopefully you, Yarvik, can put it to good use.
Plus, he has the one that you saw him come in with, which I can't get him to stop wearing, even though even when he goes on short trips. So that might as well be his version of what he just gave you these days.
Is Giddy referring to the cauldron?
Yes.
Just want to check, because we were talking about a meat smoker, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
Wolfgang wasn't wearing a meat smoker. What sort of weird poncho?
Listen. You do the cooking. I don't. That's magic to me. I do things you don't understand. It's fine.
And I did.
So I haven't had time to put it together, Yarvik, in D&D Beyond, but it's 3 charges. 3 charges 1d3 daily at dawn. And yeah, it casts the Purify Food and Drink spell on whatever's being smoked or dehydrated.
Okay, I will add that to my notes.
And it's one of those, just need to clarify, it doesn't like burn out if you reduce to 0 charges. You can drop it all the way down to 0, and it's fine. It'll just recharge the next day at dawn.
Okay, thank you very much. So it has 3 charges, and it won't exhaust. Those will replenish every day at dawn.
I guess that's most of the informalities taken care of. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. We've spoken about quite a lot tonight.
I do have a question for you. It's a curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
You're an adventurer. You're a hero, right? So, this is a moral quandary. Okay, I'm just kind of curious. You've contextualized some stuff that I didn't maybe understand previously. But let's say you see trolls attacking a child, clearly hungry. What do you do there?
If we're talking about preventative measures, then it
No,
would be
I'm
a matter
talking
of
about in the moment, not something that you prevent from happening down the line and ensuring everyone's fed. I think that's great. But
well, if
I'm
it came
talking
down to
about
a child or me, then I'd interpose myself.
and
But I've got the benefit of having spent time, like I was raised by the gnomes, but I've spent time with the trolls. So I've got greater insights into what might be going on.
right. And something that I think in our travels you've probably picked up, we're trying to kind of sow peace between the three realms. And one of them, as Zippo and had told you, not so good. Bunch of slavers, vampires, fit to eat people like you and me. So, what is your view on them?
Wolfgang's going to pause and really give the question like the thought that it deserves, because he understands the subtext behind what Ulrich's getting at.
Mhm.
I believe it comes down to choice. Slavers choose to be slavers. Precious few people are born into that career and have absolutely no opportunity to ever leave that career at any point. And I can't really speak much about vampires. All I know about them is what's in the storybooks, the fairy tales. If they have no other choice, whether it was a choice in becoming a vampire, whether it's a choice in how they feed, if there's a less violent way to do it, or throws his hands up, a consensual way to do it, if they're choosing to take the lives of innocent people, then in my mind, that's what makes them a monster. If there's any other way that they could explore, but they're not exploring it, then that's what I would consider taking more drastic action.
I appreciate your consideration of these things and your hospitality tonight, and your patience with me.
Well, to be honest, Ulrich, that's also part of the reason why. You mentioned earlier about, or you remarked on my comment about how trolls already know your name. And that is true enough, but they don't call you Trollsbane.
Oh, and what do they call me?
The trolls have come to calling you the Deathsman of Daranai. And you weren't
Well,
entirely wrong when you called yourself a boogeyman. Younger troll parents use stories of you to scare their children into behaving. You gotta pick your teeth clean, or the Deathsman of Daranai will smell you out, cut off your head, and burn your bones to ash. I'd like for there to be an opportunity to correct that mistake on the troll's part. Because we've had this conversation, and you don't seem like the monster those stories portray you as.
that was hell, I suppose.
One thing I would ask of you, Ulrich, if at all possible, if you were to encounter trolls in the future, if you were to find a group of trolls bearing down on a child, as you're moving to intercept, as you're moving to protect those who cannot protect themselves, try talking to them. And Wolfgang swaps over to Giant now. Although he doesn't know it as Giant, he just knows it as Troll. Sometimes a conversation can make all the difference in the world. Ask them if they're hungry. If they can respond, they're not entirely lost yet. And it might be enough to stay their hand. If they can't respond, well, you're already on the way. Do what must be done.
Noted. He responds in Giant Air Troll as well. I'm glad to have met you, Wolfgang. Truly. And I think that you should take your dog to see my cousin sometime.
You're right. I think it's far past time I swallowed my pride. I'd resign myself to that bridge being burnt decades ago. Well, a decade ago.
Question for the group. I think we know what languages we each speak. Does anyone else speak Troll or Giant?
I don't.
Maybe
Roger
so.
does not.
Do you not? I don't think so.
Cool. Ulrich is going to say, and in addition to maybe meeting your friend Otto, you obviously have a keen mind. I'd like to speak to you about a problem I have.
Say where and when.
Well, I think I could put it simply here.
And we're saying this in Giant right now, correct?
Yes, in Troll, yeah.
Okay, intro.
I think I can put it simply here.
Actually, before we continue, sorry, Ulrich.
Yeah, please.
Does Gideon speak Giant to Wolfgang's knowledge?
Oh, good question.
No.
Okay, so he won't stop. Ulrich, then continue.
Very good, thank you. As I said, we have some friends with regrettable tastes. I would like to find a way to make those tastes more merciful.
Look at you quizzically, and then recalling the discussions of Necrata, Zippo talking about one of his friends getting hurt by the Baroness. Vampirism? Like
Yeah.
in the fairy tales, vampires?
Yes, like from the fairy tales. They're fast friends of ours now. And I think if we're going to hold a peace with them, I think that we're going to need to figure out a way to remove their hunger, or perhaps find a way to ensure the hunger is fed in less gruesome manners.
On a personal note, you're looking for an alternative that
Food
would
source,
still
yeah.
satiate this curse, but without resulting in the loss of innocent life. Do I understand correctly?
You do. I would say if you had a way to conjure, say, the amount of blood that would be in a single person, and do so on a large scale effort, or even a small scale effort. I mean, things happen in steps, right? But if you could create something that essentially was a decanter of endless blood kind of scenario, well, that could be the beginning of a new age.
Bladerade, if you will.
Wombat.
It's got
What-
electrolytes. It has what plants crave.
Blood makes the grass grow.
It's people. I mean,
Soilinade. Yeah.
So, like Wolfgang's only understanding Wombat of vampires is literally what's in the more grim of the fairy tales.
Correct.
What does it say about like vampires being converted from other vampires? About like how the hierarchy works? Do new converts retain themselves, or are they now just thralls? Like,
You're not sure how vampires are created. However, you know how undead spread, and it's like a disease, right? Like you've seen whites run rampant in areas of Seregen that have been fought back even by members of the guild, and other undead that have cropped up from time to time. They tend to, spread by contact, right? By hunger. So generally speaking, generally if there's one, there's more, right? That's about all you know. You don't know the ins and outs of like greater undead, like just lesser undead.
so Wolfgang's understanding is confined to what he knows of lesser undead, and lesser
Correct.
undead are once you're bitten, you're part of the hive mind,
Yeah.
in a sense, or in a way. Because yeah, Ulrich's wording on that, something greater, was making you think of like New World Order, vampires ruling the world.
Oh no, I think that's. I mean, feel free to roll an insight check on. I mean, if Wombat, you would like us to like. I don't know that Ulrich is being secretive in that sense. I think that he would. I think that that's a fair insight, personally.
Heard
Yeah.
his word earlier. Wolfgang isn't rolling insight against any of you. Like he's trying to foster open communication and trust.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, I think that's a fair. Personally, I think that's a fair insight. Like Ulrich's verbiage there is, could be just that he's talking about keeping peace with another nation, and now that the walls are gone, could be something else.
I think so. Just to see if I'm tracking this, Wolfgang is a little weirded out by the question because he's not sure what to make of what the origins of it are from. Right? Is that kind of what I'm getting from you?
no. So Wolfgang's understanding so far is that some shit went down in Necrata,
Mhm.
and one way or another, Ulrich ended up with a vampire bite.
Oh, I don't
and
know that
he is
Ulrich's
now
is trying to
burdened.
reveal that. Yeah, Ulrich's definitely not trying to reveal that. He's just talking about the fact that we have allies there. But
Yeah, Wolfgang interpreted that as like if you were
Yeah.
speaking, he said a personal matter. So I thought it was a
Yeah, no, I
specific
think-
matter.
Especially
I think-
because Ulrich, you are talking in giant so that nobody else can hear. I think he's
Yeah.
trying to attribute it to why.
No. I think
Yeah.
I think it is fair for you to draw those conclusions.
Mhm.
But Ulrich is definitely, that would be something that Ulrich isn't trying to outright say. If that makes sense.
So I think at this point, let's think about the next step in that conversation for a moment, just to kind of coalesce, but also so that we can go on a 10-minute break. It is 9:05, so we will be back at 9:15 to the second half of the session. So don't go too far, folks. Let's give these folks a break. They've been talking quite a bit, and give me a break because I've been listening a lot. And we'll be back in 10 minutes. So thanks everyone. Don't go too far. We'll be right back. Okay, welcome back to the second half of the session. Thank you for sticking around after the break. We are back. Currently, Ulrich and Wolfgang are having a private conversation in Giant in front of their friends. So let's continue with that.
I like to imagine the rest of the party are pretty nonplussed by it, given how often they have private conversations in front of other people with the rings. Wolfgang doesn't know that, but Razzle player knows that.
I would actually venture to say that generally, since they're the ones always in the know, this feels weird, and they're like, "Oh, so this is what other people are thinking when we're just staring silently at each other."
You ever play the eye game when like two people are being saucy and everyone else just stares at each other wide-eyed, like what? I like to think we're all just darting our eyes around, like, huh?
I would say there is an opportunity here to have other things happening while this conversation is going on. Mainly because since none of you understand the language, maybe there's some side conversations that occur at that point. Gideon, for example, kind of tugs at Belzian's shoulder and asks him if he'd like to look at any more of the shelves. And Belzian, you get the sense that the reason why Gideon is asking you this is because he seems to have a sense of pride about them. You get the sense that he's the one that keeps these books, being that he's the bookkeeper of the guild. So while this is absolutely Wolfgang's office, it's just as much Gideon's, it seems, as you look at the 3 shelves of kept books.
Belzian's already looking at the books for sure.
Okay, give me a roll, please. D100. And which shelf are you picking from? Are you picking from the previous, the adventurers logs, the notes on the wall, or just the statistics shelf?
Ooh, options. What was the middle shelf? I believe that's the one he didn't get a chance to look at yet.
The middle shelf is where late last session Gideon had pulled from to write down notes on the wall, and Wolfgang had implied that that was his personal collection of notes and histories on the wall itself.
Ooh. Yeah, let's pull from there.
Okay.
I rolled a 79.
Okay, 79. So you've pulled a book that is kind of a log of adventurers who were too curious about the wall and lost their lives in some way, or are no longer part of the guild because they entered the wall and never returned. And the various methods that it was accomplished. You see at the beginning of the book that it states this book is a record of the many people who fell at the expense of the wall, and why it is a rule with the guild to not approach the wall as of this point for any purpose of testing. And there's just lists of there's pages and pages of people who have tried digging under the wall, over the wall, etc., etc. Those stories that Jordan told, you're seeing the statistics now of, you know, the forgive the on the nose the wanderlust that people had for trying to get to the other side to see what the wall was about and not succeeding. The book is fairly thick and fairly descriptive, but they all end the same way. The person's body completely devoured by the wall. Nothing left of them, and no ability to resurrect them.
That's the wall I know. I guess we got lucky.
That used to be the best way of executing people. They never come back.
Seems pretty foolproof.
We sure tried on a lot of fools.
You notice that this log ranges from at the start of the guild, some entries from before the start of the guild, people who had tried and recountings of those tales, and then actual statistics of guild members who foolishly tried until the rule was implemented some 15 years ago.
Well, it's a good thing we didn't know any better.
We joined after, yeah. I guess they got tired of banging their heads against the wall and had to make a rule. Can't save adventurers from themselves.
It's truly not possible.
Zippo, you doing anything?
Oh, he's just petting the dogs.
Okay. Anything you doing with the corgi or Brunhild specifically?
Not specifically, since they're laying down. He's kind of giving them like a slight pat on the head, where they're laying, like maybe a little bit on like their back, closer to the stomach area if they're like laying on their backs. And while Zippo's doing this, he's probably just gonna be like very not quiet, because Zippo's never quiet, but quiet to him, which would be like normal speaking voice, and he's just gonna be talking, just rambling about about the demons that we saw before we came through the portal, and how he's wondering if they'll get here first or if the trader will get here first.
If the trader or the demons will get here first, is what you said?
Yep.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, Jordan's kind of been more on your mind as he's been approaching. He's on his way here. And also, just being confronted with that story with Wolfgang. So, yeah, makes sense.
Something to add to that little exchange. At some point during the belly rubs, you see the little corgi Serenity get up and like wander over to the bedding area. And Zippo, she's like looking up at one of the shelves that she absolutely can't reach with her tiny little stumpy legs.
Yeah, Zippo would definitely go over and either lift her up to it or get down whatever she wants from it, if he can reach it, that is.
So she's not in any way heavy, certainly not by comparison to Brunhild. You have no trouble picking her up. And yeah, she begins like pawing at one of the cupboards, and following her lead, pulling it open, there's a small leather satchel. And when I say small, it's only like inches wide by inches deep, like it's quite small. But she seems quite intent on this little bag.
Yeah, Zippo will just hand it to her.
You see her like butt wiggle begin while you still have her in your arms. But she's not able to get the little bag open. It's got like a drawstring holding it closed.
Oh, okay, if she looks more interested in like inside the bag, Zippo will definitely like slowly set her down and then open it for her.
Yeah, inside the bag is like a dark red, almost black powder. Not super fine, like a little coarse. But she seems quite intent. And as you open the bag, Brunhild gets a whiff, and they're at your heel in an instant.
Yeah, Zippo's gonna like look at it, and he's gonna like pull some out in his hand and kind of reach it over to the corgi first, and then assuming nothing awful happens to her immediately, he'll slowly lean some towards Brunhild.
Yeah, so you take like a little pinch of it and offer it to her, and she's just on your hand. Like, she's old, she's slow. Like, this is the fastest you've seen her move. And you've got tiny corgi tongue, making sure that she gets every scrap of the powder off your fingers.
That's great.
Gideon says, "Oh, that's such a good little wren." He just murmurs as he sees this from his seat nearby you.
So was that addressed to Wolfgang?
No, he was talking to Ren, what he calls the dog.
She's excited for the powder, but yeah, she knows that she's been spotted. She's heard her name Ren,
Mhm.
and she's now backing off from the pouch. But there's no ill side effects. Out of character, it's just like dried powdered chicken liver.
Yeah. Yeah,
Gotcha.
he was just saying that's a good little Ren. So it's just like encouraging her on. Okay, so that is what Zip is doing. Excellent. Love it. Love to see a good puppy being taken care of. Roger, Yarvik, you doing anything?
Just kind of fiddling, just in a general way with the portable smoker, and just kind of doing his own thing. Yarvik's cool.
All right.
Roger
Great.
is observing Ulrich.
Okay.
The portable smoker, Yarvik, you realize that just fiddling around with it, the legs telescope out so you can make it a bit taller if you need it. The canvas looks heavy duty, so it will resist like small amounts of fire. So like sparks and embers aren't an issue. But if you were to just throw it onto a burning fire, it'd be gone.
Smokers usually, I mean, just out of character, right? They, it's like indirect heat. You got to find a way to get a small fire that creates a lot of smoke. So yeah, Yarvik is he's contemplating all of the different things he's going to be able to smoke on the rest of this journey.
Yep. You also realize it doesn't need attunement. It's something that I forgot to mention earlier.
Okay, I'll put that in the notes too. Thank you.
And it'll take the full 8 hours for the spell effect to kick in. So you have to actually like finish smoking an item before it's relieved of its poison.
Okay, cool.
The last thing to note is it doesn't seem to do much, but as you move it closer to the forge, you can see the runes start to light up, so it appears to be heat activated. And Shade, I'm not sure if it's better for me to create it as a homebrew item or if that's something that would be better for you to do because you're like a long-term party member rather than just a temporary one. So I don't know if it being in my homebrew or in your homebrew makes a difference.
I'm kind of just putting it in here as a custom item, and then I can tweak it, or I think we'll be all right.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, if if you want to send me the details, I'm always happy to create something as well. If it takes something off your plate.
No, it was just more like if I'm not going to be in the campaign long term, my character's probably going to get removed from the campaign at some point, and I didn't want that item to just disappear from someone's bag.
I don't. Yeah.
I suppose we can talk about it after the session. I just wanted to make sure it was thought of.
Yeah, why don't you send me the details? I can build it out.
Cool. That's cool. I think it's cool. I'll just use this as a placeholder then. I appreciate that.
Cool.
All right, back to the Wolfgang conversation.
Yeah, so Ulrich will, is saying like, yeah, we're just, I think it would be in everyone's interest if we had a way to make sure that the vampires could be fed without feeding on people.
Yeah, to that, Wolfgang is 100% on board with. Yeah, I certainly resonate with the concept of hunger, and trolls, for example. If food is scarce, it's the elderly and the sick that leave the tribe first to get as far away from the children as they can before they turn. So, yeah, you're right. If the wall is down and vampires are now going to be a much more clear and present threat than they were previously, then yeah, it would be preferable for all involved if a non-violent solution could be found. And at this point, Wombat, Wolfgang's already trying to start like theory crafting a way to make this work. He's thinking of the create food and water spell, if that could be modified in some way to create a very specific kind of food that is food for some things, but not normally food. I imagine that he knows like straight away this isn't going to be a quick or easy thing to do.
Correct. Yeah.
But the gears are already starting to turn. Like, could this be possible? How could it be possible? And then he comes to another realization, Auric. There is another solution.
Oh,
You've fought trolls before. You know how quickly we can heal.
yeah.
There's a chance that the more resilient of troll kind could be depleted of a person's worth of blood and survive. So the consensual option in times of dire need, assuming that wouldn't then turn the troll into a vampire, if there's a way to do that without the curse spreading, I don't know. That's not really.
Right. Well, I do feel like that sort of borders on some of the other problems with servitude, well, enslavement specifically.
That's where I was getting at it being more about informed consent.
Yeah. But
For example, if you were to find yourself in a dire situation, and this is Wolfgang jumping to the conclusion that you're a vampire, not knowing it, but just assuming it, and you were out of any other option, return here.
Well, I know that I can always get a nice steak from you or a good bowl of chili or something like that.
I think we both know that's not what I was talking about. Consider it an open offer.
I appreciate that. I think I'd still like to find some sort of solution because, frankly, one vampire is one thing, but that is a whole nation of vampires.
Yeah, there's not enough trolls for that, even if they were all willing.
I'm sorry to say, but I think I may have seen to that a little bit. So,
And the other question that I've got, Ulrich, if a peaceful resolution between all three of these countries is what's desired, then why would there be more vampires? That sounds like expansionist, not we're happy with what we have, we want peace. Like, do those two schools of thought not contradict one another?
I'm a plan for every kind of scenario kind of guy. So, if we have peace, and that's great. But what if someone betrays that peace? What if something just goes wrong? I'd prefer to just plan accordingly.
Yeah, and with the demons as a wild card, I imagine it wouldn't take much to tip any peaceful balance that could be achieved.
Indeed.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely better to plan ahead. But I've got my thoughts on how it might be accomplished. I don't see it happening anytime soon. Like this is
Right.
entirely a new problem to be solved. And then there's the issue of this being what a disease, a curse. Would it even be satisfied by magically conjured blood? Even if we could find a way to do that, or does it
Yeah.
require the living person, and not just is the blood just the conduit?
Look,
And there's a lot to consider, but I see what you're getting at, and I want to help.
I appreciate that. Obviously, I spoke out of turn, which is something to my good friend Roger. Ulrich will look at Roger and smile, flashing fangs.
And you'll find
Like-
Roger simply staring at you in return. With the same look that you've seen for probably close to 3 years now.
Yeah.
Is this the like I've been a parent of this 4-year-old toddler for what feels like 40 years look, or
No, that's what Roger looks to Zippo with.
gotcha?
This is the I know you're stirring shit up. I I know this is all about you. I can't understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I'm aware what you're saying.
Yeah.
Look.
Yeah. And Ulrich is gonna say, as Roger likes to say, I tend to run my mouth a little bit too much. So you know what I am. You know what's going on, and I appreciate your candor, your patience, and your education. I will be forthright with you. I chose this, and that's in large part because I think we're gonna need a vampire in the long run. I don't like making alliances with monsters too much. I like contingency plans, but I also don't like the hunger that I've found now. Or maybe I do. Maybe a part of me worries about that. So anything you can do to address that, I appreciate.
Yeah, I'll definitely do everything that I can to assist. The guild looks out for each other, so long as the people we're
Indeed.
looking out for aren't a danger to the people of Seregen, or I suppose now more broadly, the people of Relic, or the good people of Relic, and what good people there are in Necrata. There is
Indeed.
one more matter that we need to go over. You mentioned that it was good to have met me. It's been good to have met you as well. This is something that is long overdue. And he's going to swap back to common now. Wombat. And he's going to call out to Gideon. Giddy, can you get Yesh's box for me? The lockbox?
Yeah. Yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I'll be right back. He leaves the room to go get it.
And swapping back to Giant again to address Ulrich. So, trolls we're aware of the hunger and we're aware of what happens. Yasha was aware as well. She took a risk and it went poorly. But to her credit, she made a contingency, as you put it. And I presume at some point Gideon returns?
Yeah.
So returns with just a small lockbox. Wolfgang doesn't know where the key is, so Gideon would have had to have unlocked it.
Yeah, Gideon comes back with the box already unlocked, he opens it and gingerly almost reverently hands it to you.
And yeah, Wolfgang turns the box towards Ulrich and flips the lid fully open. And inside Ulrich, if you were to take a look, is a small leather coin purse and a sheet of parchment.
Okay.
She wanted you to have this.
Ulrich will take it. The parchment, I assume, has a written component.
Yeah, it's rolled up so it fits neatly in the lockbox. But were you to unroll it, you can see that it's a bounty for one troll, and a sum of money which Wolfgang's never known or even looked at. But presumably that's what's in the coin purse.
Okay.
She was one of yours, and she was one of ours. But as I understand it, before the two of you encountered each other, she had lost herself, and she wanted someone to put her down before she hurt someone else. And you were that person.
And this is
So, on behalf of Yasha, you have our thanks.
Yasha's pictured outside.
Yeah, she's on the wall.
Yeah.
She's on the
Yep.
deceased wall.
Yep. Ulrich, Ulrich takes it dispassionately and says, in common, I think, he'll say, well, when hunger takes someone over and they become a threat to the innocent, I hope that good people will end that threat. Right, Roger?
Without hesitation.
Very good. Was Yasha a good person before her hunger came?
Oh, one of our best trackers, actually.
Hmm.
That's how it happened. She went into the woods north of Daranai, was staking out a smuggling route in the forest, and misplanned her rations.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, but I do appreciate the
coin.
Yeah, the coin. Honestly, yeah. Yeah, let's just keep it at that. Ulrich will reach a hand for you to shake if you want it.
Yep, and he'll meet you midway and give you a firm handshake.
All right, well, seems like we're just in the business of making allies. Do y'all think we're going to be making allies of the demons next, maybe?
It seems unlikely.
It does, but, and you never know this, Roger, one of us could just become a demon and might help things.
That the word might is pulling an ungodly weight with it.
Yeah, it is.
A quick note as you break the handshake, and like Wolfgang turns to go back to the cauldron. He's still hungry. He's only had 2 mouthfuls after all. Under his breath, in giant, he just lets out and I'm sorry for your loss too, Ulrich Oakenhurth, and he stresses the surname.
He thanks you in giant, And yeah, he's gonna have to really think on a lot of this.
So with this, most of the conversation having concluded, Wolfgang's just going to let everyone know, like, I'm pretty sure I remember earlier, Giddy said he got beds for you. I mean, you're welcome to hang out here as long as you like. And he gestures towards Zippo. If you want to crash with the poppers, got no problem with it. If you have any questions for me, I'll be like right here in the back. But I mean, until tomorrow morning, you've all impressed me. So I can't imagine the formalities will be a problem.
Actually,
Yeah.
I'd like to mention before we get to the real formalities, we're set to meet with Lord Dara tomorrow. It might be best for us to save the formalities until after, if the two of you are still at odds.
Makes you say that?
Because it is a brand, is it not?
No. What sort of cults have you been joining? It's a badge.
A real
You can
visible
just-
mark.
No, you just take the badge off, man.
Oh, fair enough.
Like, he's genuinely confused. Like, where is this coming from? And he's now like, actually, Wombat, could I do active perception checks, one on each person? Or I suppose one for the group, because it's going to take forever to do.
You don't need a perception check to see Roger's immense pile of weapons. He is a walking armory.
No, he's not. He's not looking for weapons. He's looking for like cattle brand markings.
Oh, you can see markings on each person's arm. Aside from Zippo, well, actually, Zippo has like a red patch on his arm, kind of similar to markings. They're not in a language you recognize. They just kind of seem to be almost tribal markings. So yeah, they have matching tattoos.
Like the tribal tattoos we all got in college.
Yeah.
Got the stereotypical tribal sleeve.
Only
yes,
cooler.
but we know what these ones mean, actually.
More appropriate.
Yeah, this one says seafood salad, and this one's
Kung Pao chicken.
So to help alleviate your concerns, Roger, Wolfgang wanders over back to the forge area, and there's like a barrel, like a small little barrel. And you hear him reach in, you can hear like metal just being stirred around, and he just pulls out like one of probably 100 like little badges that are just like a couple inches across. Like this one's a cloak pin, this one's a hairpin, like this one's a belt buckle. Like if you need one that fits to a shield, we can do that. But it's not something that you're like permanently stuck with. You can just, where discretion is necessary, and sometimes that is required of adventurers, it can simply be removed. But I dare say that Dara is probably aware of you at least interacting with the guild. I imagine it'll be up to you to let him know whether you chose to join or not, or whether it was just yeah, we thought we'd turn up and just see what the go was like and decided it wasn't for us.
So we don't have to wear these badges all the time if we don't need to. But if somebody asks us if we're a member of the guild, is it kind of like the police force of Seregen? If someone asks, you have to say you are?
It's circumstantial. Like, again, discretion is advised in any situation. If they seem like a good, honest sort, and they want to know if you're from the guild, perhaps to commission you for work, then yeah, by all means, let them know. If you have reason to suspect that harm may come to you or others, by revealing that you are from the guild, then use your discretion.
Gotcha.
We, after all, will be the ones in danger in such a circumstance.
It is worth mentioning, though, that the badges must be worn and visible when accepting and completing a particular request. So if your guild association needs to be kept secret, then that discussion is best had behind closed doors.
Understood.
Yeah, if there's nothing else that you guys need or want, I'm going to get working on these. And he points his fingers over towards the porpoise hide, and he starts scraping it down and throwing it over a tanning rack to start stretching it out, rubbing it down with oil and preparing it, presumably for Cloak of the Manta Ray.
Exciting.
Well, it would be Cloak of the Manta Ray, but it's Cloak of the Porpoise.
I can only assume you've done that on purpose.
For all intents and purposes, yes.
I actually made a porpoise pun for the previous episodes. Perfect.
It was porpoise built.
There's only one word that puns with porpoise.
I'm sure we can find another one. What if you have trouble going to the bathroom? Porpoise.
Finn. It's enough of that.
Yeah, they're all blocked.
Well, unless anybody else has any more discussion, shall we retire to our rooms?
And by rooms, Gideon leads you to a singular room. The room is larger and it's basically like a suite. There's kind of a joint living area and a shared bath with yes. So there's rooms for groups that stay at the. Obviously, this is not like your permanent area. This is just while you're here. There are likely other rooms like this, as well as singular areas like an inn, but this is a little bit larger for a group setting. Since you've joined as a group, you stay here as a group. So Gideon kind of leads you, just to get you from there to here. Gideon leads you out up some stairs. The stairs, the room that is the main room. While it's tall ceiling, it does not have like a balcony that wraps around so you can see it from above, like many taverns do. It seems like the entire second floor is fully rooms. And it actually extends over the stable as well. So you're led upstairs. You see many rooms. There's like a slider marking for doors for when they're being occupied and what the group's name is or who the individual is, depending on who's staying there. And you see on your door before you enter the Cyberpunks on the sign on your door. Anything else I can help with before you go? You go in?
Roger will step in through the door. I don't think so. We seem to be fairly well set up already. Thank you very much.
There's locks on the inside. Let me know if you need anything. My sister's going to be taking the night shift, so if you are looking for her, she'll be downstairs. In my seat, of course.
Thanks, eh? Belgian gives a thumbs up.
All right. Gideon, not having anything else from anyone else, decides to head back downstairs. Zippo, did you come up with a group, or are you sticking with the dogs and while Gideon's working?
Yeah, I stuck with the
Or
dogs.
not Gideon, Wolfgang, sorry.
Yeah, Zippo was given the option to stick with the dogs, and unless like pretty much drug along by the rest of the party, he would have stayed with the dogs.
Any party member have negative thoughts toward Zippo staying with the dogs?
There will be no convincing him otherwise. It would be a waste of effort.
All right.
So Zippo, as the night winds down, you've got Wolfgang still working on the porpoise hide. At some point, the little corgi, hits her limit, and she wanders up the little ramp onto the bed, and there's like a little nest of pillows that's right up against the brick wall that's next to the forge to keep it warm, and that's where she curls up for the night. Seeing that Serenity's like breaking for the night, Wolfgang ends his work, and not wanting to be caught sleeping with a minor, he curls up on the pillows where you guys were eating to leave the bed vacant.
Yeah, Zippo would just curl up in the floor next to Brunhild. He doesn't normally he'll sleep on beds, but most of the time he just sleeps near Brunhild. Probably mostly on Brunhild, to be honest.
Fair enough. We'll just let you know that the bed is there and will be vacant. Should you want to cuddle puddle with the corgi?
Yeah, after a while, if he notices the corgi is by itself, he will jump up there. And if you look at Zippo when he sleeps, he does the dog thing where they walk around in a circle, then curl up. He looks like he's mimicking Brunhild when he does it, and he lays specifically right next to her, almost on top of her when he does it.
All right, party upstairs. Are you doing watches? Any night activity? Any discussion about what just happened before you go to bed?
I do have a question for Ulrich.
Yep.
I don't think we ever got the terms of your contract with the Queen, Cordelia. That might be important for us to know for various reasons.
Interesting. Just to clarify, do you mean we as players, or we as in Ulrich didn't share that with you?
As characters, as players, I totally have these written down. As characters, I've been informed that Roger did not overhear that conversation.
Right. Correct. I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I could swear we definitely wrote it down as players. Just wanted to make sure you're... Ulrich... And Wombat, let me know how you feel about this, but to me, Ulrich has now crossed that line. He has been fed, but I feel like having been fed, he's maybe more human in some respects.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, you were feeling more of the monster inside you leading up to that hunger. Once you were satiated, it was really, really great.
Yeah.
Really, really great. Now with all these revelations hitting you at once, and now that you've kind of started to process the fact of what just happened earlier tonight, it is kind of hitting you on the other side, right? This is the hangover.
Yeah. Yeah.
So take that as you will.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think Ulrich would share the information a bit. I'm gonna pull up the specific notes. It's been a little while since. Oh, shade. You don't happen to have them in front of you, do you?
Are you asking me?
I'm just. I'm searching through my notes. I'm just making sure that, if you already had them up, since you're asking, because I'm looking through my notes right now.
What I wrote down, which at this point was probably several months ago, was that 1, Ulrich retains his autonomy.
Yep.
2, Ulrich cannot challenge Queen Cordelia's rule or attempt to destroy her. And 3, the reverse. Queen Cordelia cannot challenge Ulrich's rule or attempt to destroy him. That was all I wrote down.
And that's all I've got as well, but I just wanted to, because I'm pulling this up. Wanted to make sure there wasn't anything else I didn't have. Yeah, so I think Ulrich will share that and just simply say, it's actually a fairly good deal, essentially. She and I can't challenge each other's rule, or autonomy. I am my own person, and she is hers. Now,
you say
it. Yeah. So, clear the air here. I fed tonight. I killed someone who was 2 people, technically, who tried to rob me. In fairness, I was wandering around trying to attract such attention. And, but having had some food, some blood, and having come to terms with a really great revelation that I may have just been killing people and not monsters for a good part of my life. I'm not super stoked right now, tonight, about everything. I'm a little worried, if I'm being frank, Roger.
It's not too late for us to destroy you and your coffin. and this once and for all?
Yeah, well, this is what I'm driving towards here. I had a conversation with Wolfgang. He's creative, clearly, and he knows people who can create other things. I do think that there is a more humane way for me to feed. I mean, if a troll can live in society as long as it's keeping fed, there's no reason I can't. And the only reason I really did this is to ensure that Cordelia would not be a threat down the line. And to hopefully, frankly, Roger, I think we've maybe talked about this. We need a strong ruler here in Seregen. And the other 2 places, they've got a fucking dragon and they've got a vampire. Both of them are going to live forever. We need someone who can do the same. So,
might I mention, those dragons, the 2 of them, the worms in charge of the Black and Bronze clans, are only 1 1/6 of the rulership of Relic. They have
Or-
new perspectives too.
This is true, and all the more reason that I worry. Right? New perspectives bring new problems, new concerns, new bad ideas,
But also new good ones.
and also new good ones. You're right. But
Last thing that Seregen needs. The last thing that Renovar needs. And Roger looks pointedly down at our wrists with our tattoos, indicating we are members of the Bronze Clan and have taken an oath to that effect. The last thing Renovar needs is 2 lands ruled by slavers, intent on drinking blood and nothing else.
I agree. Which is why I don't want that kind of situation. Roger, I'm speaking plainly to you while I'm in my clear senses. If I begin to slip, you need to kill me. I will fight you. I will probably win because let's face it. But you need to kill me. Right? I mean, seriously, Roger.
The fact has never been in question.
Yes. But, Roger, I'm hungry for... I don't need power. If I wanted to be fat and rich, I could just go be fat and rich. Right?
You've managed both of those splendidly.
I'm not fat, you fucker.
The rail-thin elf looking at the realistically very muscular human going, nah, you're fat.
You, hey, that aside, okay? Body dysmorphia here aside, I'm telling you, in my clearest sense right now, I want to rule for the good of this kingdom. The world's a bigger place than we thought it was. And you are going to live a very long time. And you're industrious. I mean, I don't think you're very much into being a king. I don't really see a lot of ways around this. And getting a non-noble in the throne. If it's not me, we could end up with more. I mean, we might end up with more civil war anyway, but I mean, that could just be a cycle that continuously repeats itself over and over and over again, these lands. And the vampires may one day get hungry enough to go, why don't we send some people that way? Why don't we have a little snack to the west? And the barbarians, they may, go back to conquering. I want to make sure that doesn't happen, and these peace treaties are part of it, but I want to ensure that that's a lasting peace, and if that means being immortal, that means being immortal. But Roger, that's not what I was thinking this morning. This morning, I was thinking about how it's just right and fit that I be the eternal ruler here, because I deserve it, and I want it, and so it should be mine. This is the day and night that's going on right now. If I'm kept fed, I'm in my clear senses. If I'm not, I'm hungry for everything, Roger.
I understand. And it is clear to me what I must do. should the need arise.
Yeah. Agreed. So, let's hope that Wolfgang can figure something out that'll help me. He knows that I'm a vampire. And who knows? Maybe everyone can be immortal. Wouldn't that be funny?
I'm keeping my eye on you. You cannot escape my notice.
Roger, you've been staring at me for years now. I'm not gonna be fazed by that. Continue to watch, buddy.
It's what they pay me for.
I'm sorry, what now?
It's what they pay me for.
Who have sorry. sorry. Maybe what do you mean by that? Because they pay you to that we have a job of keeping the peace and dealing with dissenters. You haven't been paid to just watch me.
Not just to watch you. That would make me a very expensive babysitter. And frankly, you're a little old for that. No, we do useful things together. We have quite a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Hey, did you
Now,
go talk to your friends?
such as they are,
What'd they have to say?
they know what I told them. I know what they told me. I'm sure before we leave town, I will tell them more, and they will tell me more.
All right.
They warned us of Wolfgang and Lord Dara. But we have we have enough information to settle that. And they'll be fine with how we handle it.
All right.
And that's all I need to know. And that's certainly more than you need to know.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you loop me in as much as you do. So, sorry, I mean, are you pulling my leg here? Have they been paying you to watch me? I mean, in part.
Roger literally pulls on Ulrich's leg.
All right. Oh man, yeah, I mean, fucking going there for a second, buddy. I was all sorts of confused.
No, we chased down goodness knows how many people. Real threats to the crown. I am not just your babysitter.
Well, no, to say that's the just that I got the problem here with.
Ulrich, do you not think Jordan is Marius's babysitter?
Wait, what? Are you? Is Jordan? Well, oh, you mean for us? Well, yeah, but why the hell are they looking at me?
Why not? You're in line for the throne, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I guess. I don't know. That wasn't something I didn't really think about until, you know.
Oh, speaking of which, apparently that's a sore subject for Lord Dara. If we bring it up tomorrow, I will slap you.
Okay, noted. Noted. Oh wait, you mean the lineage thing? Yeah.
Yes. You can feel free to get yourself thrown out of town by talking about how you're a vampire or whatever. That's only really partially my concern. But if you make Lord Dara upset and get all of us thrown out of town before the person we're supposed to meet with gets here, I will be very upset.
No. That's not something I'm looking to do.
Huzzah!
Huzzah, indeed.
Now let's get some sleep, except for, well, the two of us. As usual.
Yeah, Ulrich's not going to fight you on that. It's just
Because Roger doesn't sleep, and Ulrich no longer does either.
yep. Actually, has that entirely phased out, Wombat? Sleeping?
No, not yet. You still
Okay.
sleep.
Oh, haha! I am still superior. in a way that can only be accomplished by an elf. Roger turns up his nose.
Anybody doing watches or anything?
No, I'm not.
Roger will.
I gotta ask. I gotta ask.
Yeah,
What's the worst?
Roger's gonna roll some dice. Oh hell yeah! I am rewarded with my my first die roll of the session with the natural 20. Let's go.
Hell yeah.
33 on perception. Beat that, thieves.
All right. So I would say then at 1 a.m, you hear a commotion downstairs. You hear several people kind of enter downstairs, and you hear muffled voices, not trying to keep themselves quiet.
Can I tell what they're saying?
Not from here. There's several doors. You can hear through the floor people talking at normal volume. Urgently.
It's well before I've actually finished my rest. I'll cast invisibility on myself and go check it out.
Okay.
And it lasts up to an hour.
You heading downstairs?
Yeah.
Are you gonna stealth?
I'm already invisible, but yes, I will roll stealth.
Yeah, make sure you don't step on. You're not too loud. That when you open the door, oh damn! One lower.
These are all of my good rolls for the next
Right.
3 sessions. Enjoy them while we have it.
So you open several doors silently, taking note of the squeaks as you came up the stairs. You definitely step over everything. You've done this a million times. You always take note of what's loudest when you enter an area, and it pays off as you head downstairs. Since you're invisible, the figures take no notice. You see a sleepy Wolfgang talking with 2 people. One appears to be a guard. The other, you can see, bears one of the badges of the guild. Instead of acting it out, Wolfgang, I'll save you the trouble. The discussion you overhear is that apparently there was an attack. Somebody attacked a person overnight, and then those 2 people attacked several others, and it turned out that it was some form of undead. So 6 undead in all were destroyed in the night, and there's currently an investigation being done as to why this happened in town, and who's responsible.
Do I hear anything about what kind of undead?
They're guessing a zombie.
And does this sound like the murder that Roger just saw Ulrich do a couple of hours ago?
Roll an insight check.
All right, that sounds much more like
More middling, yes.
my normal rolls.
So, being that it started with one undead and spread to others, you know that Ulrich killed 2, but only drained 1.
Interesting. I'm guessing I'm not going to get any more useful details.
Did I-
There aren't any.
Well, I'm back. Can I ask a question for?
Yeah.
And I mean, this can be revealed in the moment. But did I bite both of them?
Nope, you just bit 1.
Okay. Okay.
Your
Cool. Thank you.
Spiritual weapon clove through the other one easily.
Cool. Thank you.
I did ask if you wanted to drink any of his blood, and you said, "Nah."
No. Yeah. No. I just wanted to make sure because I didn't remember biting both of them, but wanted to double check that I didn't just discover something.
Interesting. Well, with that information, Roger will return upstairs, assuming he doesn't learn anything else before the hour is up.
All right. Yeah. Wolfgang thanks them. Goes back to bed. Zippo, you sleep through this. You're dead to the world. Also, Wolfgang's trying to be quiet. And the other two people leave before you go up. One takes a strong drink first, though.
Trying to be quiet.
You can make a stealth check if you'd like.
I just did. It's a 2.
Okay. Zippo, make a perception check for me. Or wait, what's your passive?
My passive perception's 11.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. You wake up from Wolfgang returning into the room. Do you do anything, or do you just go back to sleep?
Zippo's pretty much not a morning person, so he's just gonna assume that he was woken up too early as the party's not in front of him, so he's gonna lay back down.
Okay. All right. Rest of the morning is uneventful. Party wakes up in their various spots within the guild. Probably the best night of sleep you've had since Ildren. Maybe I would say even like the only other bed you slept in since Ildren was at the in Malkovia, but that was kind of under worse situation. A little bit more point of stress, right? So, yeah. Good morning, party.
Well, that was a good long rest. And I feel very attuned to the magic item I just got.
Sounds like there might be some undead in the city. Heard somebody coming in late last night.
Oh, some dead came in?
Yeah, 6 people dead.
Fetch then.
Hopefully that all got sorted out. Might be worth asking Wolfgang about, though.
Yeah.
Could be something worth investigating for us, at least while we wait for Marius to get here.
Yeah, I'd be into that.
Do you think maybe they came over from Necrata, or they're more of the local variety?
Hard to get real details out of him, and of course I didn't ask any questions, I merely listened in. And it sounded like it might have been local.
Hmm.
Something spreading from one to others. Like ghouls.
That's great.
All
I
right.
doubt they'd be walking around during the day, but I guess if we see them, we'll take them out.
To the movies?
For dinner. Wait, no, we're not dinner. No.
All right. So, party. What are you doing with your morning? There's a few things to do today, right? What order in which do you wish to tackle them? Are you getting food? Do you want to get straight down to business with the guild? Do you want to check in and see if you've heard anything from Lieutenant Sparrows, anything like that?
Oh, is definitely getting food.
We'll we've got business to attend to in the morning, and frankly, the city guard can wait.
Fair enough. And I said Sparrows, I meant Robins. Same family.
Heh.
When I was naming the character, I went back and forth between which bird I wanted to choose for his last name. So, um, anyway, then if we're ignoring the town guard for the moment, what's the order of operations? What are we doing?
Getting food and having this meeting with Wolfgang where we get our real guild initiation.
Sounds good.
Oh boy. I think enjoying the luxury while we can is probably a good choice.
All right.
Try not to think about the troubles of the world for like an hour.
So, I assume the party heads downstairs. Zippo, wake up. Um, you're in the back room at the moment. Um, Wolfgang, I assume you've probably left at this point to tend to other business. Is that correct? Or are you
Wolfgang's not
still
really a
in there?
morning. He's not really a morning person.
Okay, so you're still asleep.
And first order of the day is getting fed.
Mm-hmm.
So he's checking on the smoked meats from the night before.
Got it. Okay.
He's putting in a little bit more work on the porpoise hide, and then he'll be out into the market to get food. Like unless the party stops him and they're like, "Hey, we want our badges like now," then that's his morning routine.
Copy. All right. So I would say by the point at which Zippo and party wake up, you're probably already to market. Um, so Zippo, you wake up to an empty back room. I assume, have you taken Serenity with you, or is Serenity staying at the guild?
I think she's really enjoyed Zippo's company, so
Mhm.
I imagine that she's hanging around the guild today.
Okay, so
And she had a big walk yesterday coming back from Jane, so
that's fair. Yeah, good point. So Zippo, you wake up and you find an empty back room, the office with Serenity kind of sitting there waiting for you to wake up. She is kind of just watching you patiently.
Yeah, Zippo will do like a big stretch, and then he'll hop down with Brunhild and just kind of look at her to see if she like is leading the way anywhere, and if not, then Zippo's just gonna slowly start walking forward with her and Brunhild in tow, I assume.
Did you say bleeding?
Uh, leading.
Leading. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, she's not leading. She's just kind of is aware that you're still in the room and is kind of keeping an eye on you, right? So, just aware of your presence. Um, okay. Yeah, she doesn't lead you anywhere, so you go out to go eat.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, you find that similarly, since you all are on the same clock, you've gotten up at the same times together for a long period of time. You all kind of find yourselves entering the guild hall for food about the same time. Um, the meal is some standard fare. There's potatoes. There's standard sausage or bacon and eggs. Um, just a standard meal. There's fresh baked bread as well, if you wish.
Zippo will take some, and then he'll give some of the sausage to Brunhild as well.
Okay. Brunhild happily eats it and rubs her head against you and thanks. All right, so party, you are eating. You see other members of the guild have come down as well, or leaving to go elsewhere. There's various types of folks in here that you could interact with if you'd like. They all tend to keep to themselves, even though they people see that you're not wearing a badge. People seem to be welcoming, but politely giving you your space. At the spot that Gideon usually sits at, you see a halfling there. She is likely to be the sister of Gideon that he mentioned, or at least you'd assume that, except that she's a halfling and not a gnome. So um, she introduces herself as just double checking here. Oops. As Abala, and she wishes each of you a good morning as you come through. She idly draws in a sketchbook as you pass.
Good morning.
All right. So that being said, the party is fed. Is there anything you wish to do before the guild admittance ceremony?
Yeah, I want to investigate what kind of things are being drawn idly in a sketchbook.
Sure. You go over to Abala and ask, or are you kind of like looking over her shoulder?
Yeah, Bill's in and strike up like the casual, what you working on there? Very cool kind of thing.
Got it. She shows you an image of what looks to be um, a. Actually, do me a favor. Let's not leave it up to chance here. Give me a roll, 2 rolls of the D100, please.
Okay.
All right.
A 22 and a 58.
She's drawing what looks to be a it looks like an animal. Maybe it looks like a big cat, but It has 6 legs and has tendrils kind of coming out of its back.
That's very creative. Um, Belzian would ask into like, are those seen around here, kind of thing.
Oh, it's something that I sorry, let me get into character. It's something that I saw um, in the area to the east of here. Uh, it might even be something that came in from, uh, well, the other side of the wall.
An unsettling beast. What would you call it?
Well, when I observed it, it kind of blinked around. I fortunately was not detected by it, but it it tended to be in 2 places at once. I thought there were more of it, and then it kind of coalesced back into one and kept moving off, stalking some prey. It's fascinating.
Indeed. Thank you for sharing.
It was blue in color. That was the most interesting part.
You don't see a lot of blue cats.
No.
Neat. Then Belzian would head off to this ceremony.
All right.
Don't want to get displaced too much.
All right. So that being said, some time passes and Wolfgang returns from the market, um, and I will hand it off to Wolfgang for that ceremony.
So he comes back in with the human appearance that you're all familiar with. Once he's inside, he sees the group assembled in the main hall and remembers, oh shit, we've got business this morning, don't we? Crap. Like over his shoulder, he's got like a massive sack, and he passes that like a Hessian sack. He passes that off to the barkeep. So he got some fresh veggies for the kitchen there, mate. And he drops the glamour. No one else in the guild seems to be all that. They're all pretty used to it by now. You see the painting on the wall shifts and changes along with him. And he wanders out back to find Serenity.
Serenity does a little circle when she sees you come in.
Yeah, he squats down and gives her like a good face motion and pat, being gentle with her, of course. So we're gonna have to welcome some new friends. You ready to go? Then wanders over, picks up the barrel with the guild emblems in them, or in it, and walks back out through the swinging back door with Serenity in tow. Like she seems to be pretty familiar. She recognizes the barrel and what that entails for her. Seeing that Wolfgang forgot it, as he always does, Ebola quickly dashes through into the back room as well and grabs like a little purple like silk or satin pillow and brings that out into the main hall as well. When they see, or when the rest of the guild sees Wolfgang bringing the barrel out, they all know what's up as well. And the pillow gets placed on a table central to the area, and Wolfgang helps Serenity get up onto the table, and she takes her seat on the pillow. Right, everyone, you know how this goes. Got some new friends here to welcome to our little guild. He pauses, turns back to to the group. You want to introduce yourselves? Group name, bit of flair. Let's go.
We're the cyberpunks.
Do we strike a pose? Like Ginyu Force
Roger.
style?
Roger instantly strikes a pose, expecting
Yeah.
Belzian to follow.
Once we all get once most of them get into pose-like thing, Zippo will press the hesitation, like some sparks flying out from behind us.
That's what I'm talking about.
Seeing the group get into the spirit of things, Wolfgang starts a bit of a chant with the other guildmates. Toku Sentai! Toku Sentai! All right. Thanks, everyone. Cyberpunks. Give them a round of applause. And the guild breaks out in a round of applause. A few people stand up, impressed with the display. Most are a bit more toned down for their first meeting with everyone else. But yeah, you seem to have made a good impression. And last but not least, we have the oath. I'll keep it short, keep it simple. We here at the Adventurers Guild, first and foremost, we care about the people. We care about adventure, we care about fun, we care about stories, absolutely. Loot, definitely. Danger, almost certainly. But at the end of the day, it's the people that we stand by. And it's the people that you swear to. He gestures to Serenity. She got her name because she's the figurehead, the surrogate, Seregen's community, Serenity. So all you have to do is pledge yourself to her to keep her safe. And to have some bloody good fun while you're at it.
You hear hear from a few people in the audience. So
The Serenity and the people of Seregen.
Yeah. Woo! To the dog! To Serenity! And Zippo will, as he's saying that, he will press the digitation, more sparks out of his hand.
Party, this is the most animated Zippo's been since he was getting to meet a dragon for the first time.
And we are not going to interrupt his good time.
The excitement is infectious. The Belzian even claps.
So if you just want to step up one by one, take a knee and make your pledge.
So do we go alphabetically, or like how are we doing this?
And Roger will step forward and drop to a knee.
Oh, by age, perhaps.
Oldest first. I pledge to protect this person and the people she stands for. What she represents. Common folk of Seregen. To the best of my ability.
And hearing you finish your pledge, you get one little, a little bark. And that marks your entry into the guild. Wolfgang rolls up with the barrel in tow. So do you have a preference? How do you want your badge?
A pin, something easily removed or placed should it be needed.
No problem. Cloak pin. And he pulls out the guild crest. Looking at it, it's shaped like a kite shield. And kind of looks like noble heraldry. It's divided into 4 sections. One section has a boar's head. One section has a spear. One section has 3 chevrons. And the final section is just a slash that's on. It looks like the wrong sort of angle. Given your background, Roger, how familiar are you with the heraldry of
Seregen? More than most of the party, but less than Ulrich for sure.
Okay. At a casual glance, I mean, this doesn't resemble any heraldry. It doesn't look like any noble house. So he gives you the cloak pin and motions for the next person to step forward.
If we are going by age, Yarvik, I don't know how old you are.
I think Yarvik's like he's younger. He's like, I think we said he was in his 20s. I think.
Okay,
Yeah, I think we said Yarvik was in his 20s.
yeah, then Ulrich will come up. Ulrich bends the knee to the pup and makes the swear. And will joke that he wants his badge to be, something permanent, like an actual changing in my body some way, so that everyone knows. Or a badge that also works.
So Ulrich, you make the pledge. And
makes the pledge.
Okay. You feel something wash over you, a chill wash over you. As you say it, as you finish the words of the pledge.
Right. Of course.
And this is something I, out of character, did not remind you about because genuinely, I think Ulrich would have forgotten.
What?
Yeah.
Can we have for posterity exactly what pledge Ulrich has made?
Yeah. I would love that.
Are you just repeating Roger's words?
I assume he repeated Roger's words, yeah.
Well, wait. Were those not the words that we were supposed to, that we were prompted to say?
Correct.
He said,
I wasn't
make
prompted to
a
say
pledge.
anything.
Wolfgang said to make a pledge.
Okay. All
But you
right.
said
Sorry.
the
For some reason.
So,
Wolfgang's expecting freeform.
yeah.
Okay. All right. I will say, apologies, that is on me. Boy.
I think based on the wording that Roger said and you going right after him, you probably repeated what Roger said.
Yeah.
Right?
So, Roger, what exactly did you say? Because the thing, I will be honest, the thing that I thought about, I was like, wait, I thought this was a dog when you said person. And that was, my little brain went into a moment of thinking about things.
Serenity and the community that she represents, I believe is how you said it, right?
To protect the common people to the best of my ability.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, yeah, no, Ulrich would agree with all of that anyway, so yes.
But it is now,
sworn.
It's now sworn.
Yep.
Right.
Cool. At Ulrich's mention of he wanted something permanent.
I was just kidding.
Wolfgang's going to go ahead with this part anyway. You see him reach into the barrel, and he picks up like a larger emblem, presumably one that's meant to be fitted to a shield.
Oh.
And while he's holding it, just give me one moment. Yeah, you see him begin to cast a spell, and a few moments later, and Wombat, for the record, I will be taking damage while I'm doing this, just for the gag. The emblem begins to glow red hot. Like, well, if you wanted a brand, something permanent that can be arranged, as he casts heat metal on the emblem.
No, I was just riffing on what we were discussing last night. So badge is good.
All right, you sure? Like, I'm already like burning my hand here for this.
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks.
All right, so I'll take 4 points of damage.
I give you 4 points back.
And yeah, he'll toss it back into the pile, and the spell effect pull out a much smaller, similar to Roger's cloak pin. Just something that's small and easy to remove. And it looks identical to Roger's. Auric, with your knowledge of nobility, like this is the heraldry version of a children's nonsense rhyme. Like it just all of the like lore behind heraldry and how it's supposed to work, what all of different things mean, how they're arranged, like what all that represents. This is just bullshit.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. I love it.
You swear you get a little bark from Serenity, and you get your badge. Welcome into the guild.
Thanks for having me.
No problem.
It seems like our party's getting pretty good at taking and making oaths now. It's like our thing. Belzian steps up, takes a knee, and he goes, for the safety and prosperity of the people of this place, and also adventure.
At the mention of adventure, you get a round of jeers and applause from the crowd. They seem a bit sort of like, oh, they only mentioned the looking after the people thing, but no, this is someone who's out for the party. So,
well, it's called party, right? Belzian totally blushing. He requests a badge style emblem.
All right. It's like fishing around in the barrel. The back of it is very similar to cloak pin. But this one is the emblem set into the center of like a 5-point star.
It's a cool design. Did you design it?
I did. A wave of inspiration one night, and a surplus of metal.
Great job.
Wait, is it 5-point or 6-point for the sheriff badge? I can't remember.
I think it made
out of character.
It depends. It just depends on the agency.
The classic one is 5-pointed.
Yeah.
But like I think U.S. Marshals are 6, so it just depends. It just depends on the agency.
The ones here are 13 points because they all make up a maple leaf. I made it up.
That's an interesting fact.
A 12-point star for
U.S. Marshal is also 5, actually.
Is it 5? I thought it was 6.
Oh, there is one that is 6. It looks like, yes.
All right, well, it sounds like 5 is still a pretty safe bet, so I think we'll stick with the original. So you've now got your 5-point sheriff badge with guild emblem in the center.
Yes.
Another bark and another round of applause, and Belzian is welcomed into the guild.
this point, I guess Yarvik will step up. Sure, what's one more? And Yarvik will make pledge noises, say the same thing that Belzian said, basically. And he is going to request something like a signet ring, like a ring with it on it would be kind of cool.
Alrighty, I think we got one kind of like that. And you see him fish around in the barrel for a minute, and then another minute, and then a third minute, and then.
Well, I don't want to put you out. I'll take a badge if you don't have a ring.
No, it's fine. We can do this. And you hear him swear under his breath, and then run into the back room, and you hear the clanging of metal, and the bellows of the forge going. And another 2 minutes later, he comes back. The ring is still too hot to touch, basically. But he's now affixed the smallest version of the emblem to the face of a ring, and it's a very, very chunky, uncomfortable looking ring.
Awesome.
But there it is.
I will wear this with pride.
And we'll have you in the guild with pride.
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
Zippo will go up and he'll take the knee, and whenever he does, he goes for the safety and prosperity of Serenity and all other animals ever. And then he'll walk over to get his badge.
Good thing the Ulrich didn't go after Zippo.
Yeah, Wolfing's going to take the for Serenity to mean both the dog and what she represents, to give that one a pass. And did you want a badge as well, or did you have a special design in mind?
Oh yeah, just simple badge is fine.
No problem. And he fishes one out for you from the barrel. And welcome to the guild, Zippo. Our first dragon.
Zippo will put the badge on. He's wearing his new armor, by the way, that he had reshaped. So he's kind of he puts it on, and he's kind of wiping off his armor too, because he's never wore armor before, so he's kind of getting used to that at the same time.
Wolfgang leans down and whispers to you. It's like seeing that you're uncomfortable in the armor. It's just give it a couple months, break it in. You'll get used to it.
Okay. Zippo says, "Oh, he says it, but I'm not used to this. I don't ever wear stuff, but I don't want to be hurt." So,
Wombat.
Mm-hmm.
Wolfgang has a passive perception of 10. Can he smell the powdered chicken liver on Zippo?
I would say no.
Okay. All right, friends. That concludes the ceremony. Drinks are on me. And there's another round of applause and an exodus of adventurers towards the bar.
About to say, those are the magic words.
Some folks come up to the party and either say welcome to the guild Bean Sprouts, or thanks for the drink, or they slap Ulrich on the back since he's the biggest of the bunch, or they'll do a to Velzian, and they'll rub Zippo's head, things like that. None of them seem to go for Roger in any way except for maybe offer a hand for a handshake. Seems like these folks are pretty good reads on people.
Do I get the vibe that they recognize that I don't want a handshake?
Yes.
Or do I realize that they get the vibe that I'm like a walking armory and I'm just very prickly, physically speaking?
I'll continue answering with yes.
Roger will acknowledge their deference and take it as a sign of respect and not an insult.
Yurvik, being that you're classically trained in eating all things not nailed down and drinking all things not yet drunk, are you already at the bar with or in line for a drink, or are you kind of sticking around with the party?
No, I'm hanging with my party. You know,
Okay.
it's a special moment. We're all we're feeling it's a lot of bro. It's a very positive bro love environment.
Mm-hmm. Awesome.
He's admiring his gaudy and too large ring. You're really wondering what it's going to be like. It's like, does he need to he's going to punch somebody in the forehead? Like, is he going to leave the star on their forehead?
Well, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen of Twitch, I present to you the Cyberpunks, members of the Adventurers Guild. And that is where we're going to leave it off tonight for the rest of whatever the day has in store for them. So thank you for joining us again for this episode. Really good one here, kind of a nice study of character. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next time. Now, to get back on track with things, next time would normally be next week. Is next week available for people, or do we need to push it back a week further after that?
I should be available next week.
Should work for me.
I'm going to say tentative.
Okay.
Unless my life throws a surprise, which is always a possibility. But yeah.
I'm kind of trying to hold off on us meeting on the 5th because it is election day. We have met on election days in the past, so I'm fine with it if that's what we do. So Yarvik, if you could tell us at the earliest convenience of what next week feels for you so we can plan it out.
No, we'll go ahead. Tentative means, I will go ahead and accept, but it just, I may have an issue, but that's fine.
I mean, if there's a conflict, we can just meet on the 5th. That's fine. I don't mind doing every 2 weeks anyway. So
no, it's fine. We should get back on track. We should definitely try to get back on track.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, if we do meet on the 5th, that means we wouldn't be meeting the day after Christmas. It would be the 3rd instead. So maybe we'll talk about it in Discord. But ultimately, thank you folks for being here. I want to make sure that I get people out on time. We're already past time. So we'll see you next time here on the channel. We'll let you know when that is in Discord. Have a great night, everyone. Thank you. And again, Erasmus, thank you for your time for the last 2 episodes. It's been great.
And thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Good night, Internet.
Bye.
Nighty night.